In the early 1900s, tuberculosis was one of the deadliest diseases in the United States. Louisville, Kentucky was especially hard hit due to its swampy climate. To isolate and treat those infected, a small wooden two-story hospital was opened in 1910 on a hill outside town, known as Waverly Hills. By the 1920s, it became clear that the facility could not meet growing demand. In 1926, a 5-story, state-of-the-art sanatorium was built to house over 400 patients. Treatments at Waverly were limited. Before antibiotics, patients relied on fresh air, rest, and sunlight. Some underwent painful surgeries to collapse their lungs or remove ribs. Many died there. To avoid distressing other patients, the dead were taken through a tunnel beneath the hospital, called the Body Chute, a 500-foot passageway that led to hearses waiting below. While exact numbers vary, some estimate over 6,000 deaths occurred within these walls. Waverly Hills closed as a sanitarium in 1961, after antibiotics like streptomycin made TB treatable. It was briefly reopened as a geriatric center, but poor conditions led to its final closure in 1981. The building sat abandoned, drawing vandals and urban explorers. Stories of hauntings began to grow, some based on legend, some on experience. Waverly Hills employed a surprisingly large staff for the area, more than 200 at its peak, including nurses, orderlies, doctors, kitchen workers, and even janitorial crew. Many of them lived on site for extended periods due to the isolation of the facility. The emotional toll was tremendous. In letters now preserved in historical archives, nurses wrote about the heartbreak of losing patients they had grown close to, often children and young adults, and the morale challenges of working in a place where death was more common than recovery. One patient, a teenager named Rebecca, was admitted in 1942. Surviving letters from her parents detail the strict quarantine procedures they had to follow, unable to hold or even closely approach their daughter for over a year, which was a common occurrence under this time. According to family accounts, she was one of the lucky few discharged alive after a prolonged treatment and rest. Though her story ended in survival, others weren't as fortunate. The sanatorium kept meticulous handwritten logs, now stored in local archives, chronicling daily deaths and burials. Many names in those logs belonged to children under the age of 10. Room 502 is the most infamous. According to local legends, a nurse died by suicide there in the 1930s. The records are unclear. Visitors report cold spots, footsteps, and shadowy figures. Paranormal shows like Ghost Hunters and Destination Fear have featured the site. While skeptics cite psychological suggestion, many insist something unexplainable lingers. Now here, we will watch a segment from a 1931 government tuberculosis film.
Let's have a look at one of these sanatoria, or tuberculosis hospitals as they are called today. Real hospitals for the tuberculous, and not merely resting places. Here we are in a large southern sanatorium. This one has beds for 500 patients. Altogether, there are now 90,000 such beds available. Rest and more rest, as Trudeau discovered when he himself took the cure as a young doctor. Yes, and good food. Nowadays, doctors don't stuff patients with more milk and eggs than they can digest. Just good, well-balanced meals, enough to gain weight on. Smell those delicious loaves. New ways of resting the lung have been developed. This patient is getting pneumothorax treatment. Air is let into the chest cavity, and that rests the lung so that it can heal. When the diseased lung is fully healed, it is allowed to expand again. A lifesaver for many. Each patient is helped to find his place in the workaday world when he leaves the sanatorium. Here's a class in typewriting. In this sanatorium, as in many others, children of tuberculous parents who cannot be properly protected otherwise are cared for in a special department of the sanatorium.
Today, Waverly Hills is privately owned and undergoing restoration. It hosts paranormal tours, charity events, and educational programs. Despite the legends, it's a solemn reminder of the era before modern medicine. A place where caretakers fought to save lives, even when the odds were grim.